The night London burned, and no one did anything to stop it. It is the small hours of September 2nd, 1666. You are asleep. The whole city is asleep. And no one knows that in less than an hour, everything will change forever. London has not seen rain in weeks. The summer has been brutal, the kind of heat that cracks timber, that turns thatch into kindling, that makes the air itself feel heavy and dangerous. The streets are impossibly narrow. Buildings lean toward each other, like old men sharing secrets, their upper floors jutting out so far they nearly touch. Sunlight barely reaches the ground here. The air smells ancient, stale, waiting. You live near Pudding Lane, in the parish of St. Magnus the Martyr. This is not a wealthy neighborhood. This is where London works. Warehouses line the streets, packed with tar, pitch, hemp, oil, tallow, the combustible lifeblood of maritime trade. The smell of rope and resin hangs in the air. Coal smoke, river mud, industry. Somewhere nearby, Thomas Farriner, the king's own baker, has closed his shop for the night. The ovens have been raked. The fires have been banked. His household sleeps on the upper floors. Farriner himself, his daughter Hannah, a manservant, and a maid whose name history will forget. And then, a spark, a coal not fully extinguished, an ember finding purchase in wood that has been drying for weeks under that relentless sun. The physics are simple. The consequences will not be. Around 1 a.m, you wake to shouting. Not the usual sounds of the night, not drunks stumbling home, not watchmen calling the hour. This is different. This is urgent. You smell smoke. Not the familiar smell of hearth fires, but something sharper, something wrong. You go to your window. Down on Pudding Lane, Farriner's bakery is glowing orange from within. You can see figures on the roof, the baker and his family, climbing across to a neighboring house, escaping through upper windows, because the stairs are already gone. The ground floor is surrendering to flame. One figure does not cross, the maid. She stands at the window, paralyzed by fear, and you watch as the fire rises to meet her. She will be the first to die. Her name will be forgotten. In the days to come, London will struggle to count its losses, and she will become nothing more than a footnote. The fire has already spread to the Star Inn next door, where hay and straw are stored. It consumes this fuel with terrifying speed and leaps to the next structure, and the next, and the next. Within an hour, the fire has its own momentum, its own logic. And still no bells ring. The parish constables arrive sometime after 2 a.m. They look at the fire, they assess the situation, and then they make a decision that will define everything that follows. They choose not to wake the Lord Mayor. Sir Thomas Bloodworth has been in his position for less than a year. He is a merchant, not a leader. He has no military experience, no training in crisis management, no gift for decisive action. When he is finally dragged from his bed and brought to Pudding Lane, he surveys the scene with what witnesses will later describe as visible irritation. Pish, he says. A woman might piss it out, and he goes back to bed. Remember this moment. Remember it well, because this single decision, this failure to act, to comprehend, to lead, will cost London everything. Bloodworth has the legal authority to order buildings demolished. This is how you stop urban fires. You pull down structures in the fire's path. You create gaps. You deprive the flames of fuel. But demolition means destruction of property. Property means owners. Owners mean compensation. Legal disputes. Difficult questions. Who will pay for the houses torn down? Who will bear responsibility if the firebreak proves unnecessary? Bloodworth hesitates. He is caught between the fire before him and the consequences behind. And while he hesitates, the fire spreads. By dawn, 300 houses are gone. The wind, which had been mild through the night, begins to strengthen. It comes from the east, pushing the flames westward, directly into the heart of the city. You climb to higher ground to see what is happening. What you witness stops your breath. The fire is no longer a local incident. It is a moving wall of flame, consuming everything in its path with mechanical indifference. You watch people throwing their possessions into the Thames. Boats fill with refugees. On the rooftops, pigeons refuse to leave their nests and burn alive in the air. Samuel Pepys, the naval administrator, climbs the Tower of London that morning and sees the same thing you see. He is so disturbed that he seeks an audience with King Charles II himself. He is rowed upriver to Whitehall, where he delivers his report. The fire is spreading, the Lord Mayor is overwhelmed, and unless buildings are pulled down immediately, the entire city will be lost. The king listens, he gives orders. He commands Bloodworth to tear down houses without hesitation, without concern for legal niceties. Pepys returns to the city with royal authority. But when he finds Bloodworth, the mayor is a broken man. Surrounded by fire on multiple sides, his authority in tatters, Bloodworth can only weep. "Lord," he cries, "what can I do? I am spent. People will not obey me. I have been pulling down houses, but the fire overtakes us faster than we can do it. The truth is worse. Bloodworth has ordered some demolitions, but too few, too late, too close to the advancing flames. The fire breaks are consumed almost as soon as they are created. The window for effective action closed hours ago. In those first moments, when a decisive leader might have sacrificed a street to save a city, now there is nothing to do but run. Monday afternoon, September 3rd. The fire has become something beyond human control. You try to flee, but the streets are chaos. Everyone is running. Everyone is carrying whatever they could grab: furniture, documents, strongboxes, children. Carts jam the narrow lanes. People shout, pray, curse. And behind you, always behind you, the roar of the flames. It is not like any sound you have ever heard, not the crackle of a hearth fire. This is deeper, a constant thunder that seems to come from everywhere at once. The fire is eating the city, and it is still hungry. The heat is so intense that lead roof tiles melt and run like water. Stone walls crack and explode. The very air seems to ignite. You watch buildings fall one by one. Fishmonger's Hall, the Steelyard, churches St. Lawrence Pountney, St. Mary Bothwell, All Hallows the Less. A final toll for their own destruction. London Bridge is saved, but only by accident. A fire in 1633 destroyed part of it, and that section was never rebuilt. But to the north and west, nothing impedes their advance. You reach Moorfields as night falls. Tens of thousands of people are already here, camped on open ground. Many have never spent a night outside in their lives. They sit in stunned silence, watching the orange glow on the horizon, listening to the distant roar, waiting for news that never seems to improve. Some have buried their valuables in gardens and churchyards, hoping to return for them later. Most never will. The fire reaches St. Paul's Cathedral. The old cathedral has stood for over 500 years. It is not yet the magnificent structure that Christopher Wren will later build. This is a medieval giant. Its spire long destroyed by lightning, its nave cluttered with bookstalls that have colonized its sacred space. The booksellers of London have moved their stock into the cathedral's crypt, believing that stone walls will protect their inventory. They are wrong. The fire comes from the east, carried by wind that has not relented for 3 days. It finds the wooden scaffolding surrounding the cathedral repairs have been ongoing for years and climbs. The lead roof begins to melt. Rivers of molten metal pour down onto the stones below. The heat is so extreme that the tombs in the crypt explode, scattering bones and ash. The books burn for days. John Evelyn, another diarist, will walk through the ruins later that week. He will describe stones that still glow with internal heat, pavements so hot they burn through his shoes. The destruction of St. Paul's is more than architectural loss. It is symbolic annihilation, the heart of English Christianity reduced to smoking rubble. By Wednesday morning, the wind finally begins to die. The king's brother, James, Duke of York, has taken personal command of the firefighting efforts. He organizes teams of sailors and soldiers to create fire breaks with gunpowder. These controlled demolitions, combined with the calming wind, begin to contain the fire's advance. On Thursday, the last flames are extinguished near the temple. 4 days. The fire burned for 4 days. It consumed 13,200 houses, 87 churches, most of the civic buildings within the old city walls. 436 acres of London lie in ruins. The official death toll is 6. 6 people. You know this cannot be true. The fire burned so hot that bodies would have been completely consumed. The poor left no records. The immigrants living in the city's margins, French Huguenots, Dutch traders, foreign workers, were never counted in life. Why would they be counted in death? The true toll lies somewhere between the official record and the imagination. London will rebuild, but not according to any grand plan. Christopher Wren and others submit proposals for a new citywide streets, classical proportions, rational design. All rejected. Property owners want their plots back, their boundaries restored, their claims honored. The new London rises from the ashes of the old, following the same medieval street plan, the same narrow alleys, the same crowded logic. What changes is material. Timber gives way to brick. Thatch is banned. Building codes are enforced for the first time with genuine rigor. The lessons of the fire are written into stone and mortar. But the lesson that mattered most, the lesson of hesitation, is harder to learn. Thomas Bloodworth disappears from public life, his name forever synonymous with failure. A monument is built, 202 feet tall, with an inscription blaming the fire on the treachery and malice of the popish faction. This is a lie convenient for politics, unsupported by evidence. A French watchmaker named Robert Hubert confesses to starting the fire deliberately. He is hanged. His confession is almost certainly false, extracted under pressure, contradicted by facts, disbelieved even by those who executed him. The fire needed no conspiracy. It needed only dry wood, eastern wind, and men who feared making decisions more than they feared making mistakes. The monument still stands today near the place where Thomas Farriner's bakery once existed. Tourists climb its 311 steps and look out over a city rebuilt, renewed, transformed. Few think of the maid who died at the window, or the mayor who went back to bed, or the hours when everything might have been different. But the question remains, buried in the foundations, written in the spaces between what was and what might have been. When disaster comes, who decides? And what happens when no one does? That question waits there still, patient as ember, ready to ask again. This was London, September 1666, the week that changed everything. And it all started because one man thought it wasn't worth getting out of bed.